Hey everybody, Matt with Freestand here. Got a special guest on the show today, Amber Rizaei, also known as Amber.teaches on Instagram. That's your Instagram handle, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you for coming on. And where are you located?
I actually live in Illinois.
In
That's where I
Illinois.
live currently. Yeah.
Very cool. Like near Chicago or?
Yeah, about an hour out of Chicago.
Okay, very cool. And Amber is a virtual teacher. She works with 3 different platforms, including VIP Kid, Outschool, and a little bit of Gogo Kid,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So why don't we just start off by if you could explain a little bit about what you do, and then maybe a little bit about all 3 platforms. I think that would be a good starting point.
Okay. Do you want to know a little bit about my background?
Yes, absolutely. Your
Okay,
background too.
sure. Okay, yeah. So I actually graduated from college in 2017. And I have my bachelor's degree in elementary education. So with VIP Kid and Gogo Kid, you are required to have a degree now. But with Outschool, it actually doesn't require you to have a degree. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I do have my degree. And then after I graduated, I have kids. So I just went into working in daycare. And so I was kind of using my degree, kind of not. And then just when, the pandemic hit and everything, that really changed my perspective on what I was doing and where I wanted my kids to be. So then I actually had my cousin join VIP Kid. And I had heard about it years before, but never thought I could really make as much as I was making. I kind of always thought online work, you always
It's
see
kind
it
of
and you're like, oh, it's a
bogus, right?
scam or something. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I never dove into it. But then over last summer, just with everything going on and being out of work, I just decided to go for it. And then I left my daycare job. So back in November, I left. So
you left it full time in November.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So
for a short period, I was working these really early hours online and then a whole 40-hour work week as
yeah.
well with daycare. So it was crazy, but I dropped daycare completely.
so yeah, I was talking with somebody else earlier last week, and he says that he does VIP's Kid, and he wakes up and his hours are 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then he goes and works his regular day job.
Yeah.
Which is that sounds crazy,
It sounds crazy.
But I think it's probably a good way to do it when you're starting off, because I think you build up some type of reputation on the platform first, and then you could
Sort of. Yeah, sort of a little bit. So like I said, I don't really, I have an active contract with Gogo Kid, but I don't really teach with them on a regular schedule, and having that regular schedule really helps.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on Central Time. So the way that those 2 platforms work, VIP Kid and Gogo Kid, you're teaching kids all the way in China. So if you live in America, we have a big teachers community, and we call it living on Beijing time, because we have to basically go to sleep earlier, wake up earlier, and work based off of when those kids need the most classes.
Yeah.
You know?
You're working on their time.
Yeah, so their peak time that they want to take classes is from for me on Central Time, it's from 4 a.m. until now with the time change with daylight savings, it's 5 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay, that's a little better.
Yeah, but during the winter, it was 4 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and actually, a little fun fact, 8 a.m. our time is 9 p.m. Beijing time.
Okay.
So
So
there's
they're
like
still
a
working
rule in
late.
China. Yeah, it's late. The students there, they work hard, but
Yeah.
there's actually this rule in China that kids can't take classes after 9 p.m.
Really?
So you really can't work like after 8 a.m. anyway. Everybody's going to sleep or
Wow.
whatever. So
Yeah. It's crazy. So let's talk about like the platform specifically. So for everybody who's listening, VIP Kid is you teach mostly Asian countries,
like basically
95,
only China.
basically only China.
You'll get like a small handful, very rarely you get students not in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and those students that aren't in China are generally in other Asian countries, right?
Yeah, like right
Okay.
around China. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. And so VIP Kid, you teach, mainly Chinese kids.
Mhm.
It's, the opposite time zone. So it's in the middle of the night for American teachers, which is tough. In
Yes.
in
Yes.
terms of the scheduling though, you kind of like make your own profile.
Mhm.
Well, actually, first let's talk about like applying to become a part of VIP Kid first.
Okay.
So like, if correct me if I'm wrong, but you pretty much just like send in an application, they do an interview, and then if you get accepted, then you can start working. How does that work?
Yeah. Like I said, for their platform, you do have to have a degree. For Outschool, you don't need a degree.
Got it.
But yeah, you just send in the application and then they will look over your credentials and say, yeah, you're approved for the next step, because there's kind of a process with their interview. Um, so it's kind of confusing because I'm working for a VIP Kid, but I'm not associated. Like, I'm not considered an employee of VIP Kid.
You're an independent contractor.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think some people don't quite understand how that works. Um, but yeah, I'm basically my own small business.
Yeah.
They just set up the platform for me. They give me all the material to teach and everything. So I literally don't have to plan any of my lessons. It's
Wow.
all given to me. But yeah, part of their interview process, you do like a mock class with them. So
And isn't the person that you're like doing the mock class with, it's like an employee, right?
yeah, and they're sometimes it's another teacher.
Okay.
You can like apply to be in that program.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, and then you mostly with VIP Kid teach kids in what age group? Like 4 to 18? That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it ranges actually from 3 all the way to 18. Yeah, I've had 3-year-olds. They're pretty young. And you can sort of choose the age group you want to work with. It's up to what you're willing to certify in. So there's like lower level classes. Like if you only taught level 1 classes, that would be like 3 to 6-year-olds ish.
Gotcha.
Pretty young kids. And I've had kids all the way up to 14. So, yeah.
And does the amount that it pays, does that differ based on the age group or level or time slot?
Not necessarily. Some of the higher level classes take up 2 time slots. Most classes are only 25 minutes.
Okay.
So some of the higher level classes will be a 50-minute class, and then they'll pay you like that amount, like
accordingly
for
the time.
Basically 2 classes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, and then moving on to Gogo Kid. Gogo Kid, it works similarly to VIP Kid.
Yes, almost exactly the same.
Almost exactly the
Just,
same.
yes, their pay scale is a little bit different. Um, sometimes they pay a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, and then they have different lessons, but it's basically the same.
Basically the same. So it's Asian kids, mostly Chinese kids,
Mm-hmm.
teaching them English.
Yeah.
At crazy hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I only teach in the morning. That's just what works best with my schedule because I have kids. They're asleep. So I don't have to like worry about who's watching them or anything. They're sleeping. But I do know plenty of other teachers that work nights. It's just not what
Preference.
I want to do. I'm more of a morning person.
Yeah.
But even heard of teachers working
All night.
whole, yeah, I couldn't do that. But
Yeah, that's crazy.
but
So
I don't know. I've heard of teachers though like that. They'll work those long nights, like literally from 8 p.m. until like 7 a.m. the next morning, a whole 12 hours or whatever, 8 to 8,
mhm.
and like make their whole like income, like just doing 2 overnights a week or something.
Oh
But
my God. That's crazy. Yeah, that's like being like an ER nurse or something, having to stay up all
right,
night,
right. But you work a little bit less, fewer days, I guess.
fewer days. Yeah. But it's just really interesting that this is even a thing. Like you said, it sounds like a scam, right? Like on the surface,
Right,
but it's not.
right.
It fully isn't. These companies are really legit. Okay, so Gogo Kid is exactly the same as VIP Kid, or very, very similar.
Very similar, yeah.
And then what is Outschool?
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, Outschool, I joined a couple months after I joined VIP Kid, just because I heard so many teachers talking about it. And I actually know a lot of teachers that dabble in multiple companies, or they leave one company and only do one. It kind of just depends. But Outschool, you're teaching kids worldwide. I mean, and I had one class one time that I had a student from Deutschland, which I think is
Deutschland.
Germany.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes, I had a kid from there, and I've had kids from the Philippines. I've had kids in China. I've had some of my VIP kid students in Outschool classes, so that's interesting.
Really?
Yeah, just all over Jamaica, anywhere you can think of.
Wow. That's
So,
really cool. And it's English? It's
I can
all it
teach whatever I want,
okay.
anything,
So
literally anything you can imagine.
okay, so VIP Kid and Gogo Kid is just teaching English to foreign, mostly Asian students.
Yes.
Outschool is worldwide, kids
Yeah.
from all over the place, and you can teach anything. So talk to me about that. Like if you want to teach
Anything you want.
really.
So yes, and I didn't really like believe that at first either. And when I first joined, I was like how do they keep it organized? And like weed out people who are scammers, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Or
It
who
just,
aren't who wouldn't be
right.
good teachers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like people, that was like my biggest fear with getting into the online community is people's fear of that.
Yeah.
That's my own fear. But I've had my kids take classes on there too. So it's actually pretty cool. If you were like a dance instructor, you can teach dance classes. Uh, I even had my daughter take a class on decluttering.
You're kidding.
Yes, there's classes about anything you could want.
Oh my God, that is
Yeah,
really crazy. So
it's pretty
how
cool.
That is really cool. So how does that work though? So when you sign up as a teacher, do you just select the things you want to teach and then they just automatically approve you? Or do they like go through some due diligence and kind of, you
Um,
know,
well, I didn't have to do like an interview with anybody or really show them. The process might be a little bit different. I think they have made a couple changes, but I really just put in all my credentials and said, like why I'm certified to teach and stuff. Even though, like I said, you don't have to have a degree, but they do kind of require you to explain why you specialize in that field, like
mhm.
how qualified you are, but
Regardless of it being a degree, what makes you qualified?
right,
Yeah.
like if you've taught it before or whatever.
Right.
So um then I just filled out like what I want to teach and what like my class would look like, and they approve it.
Wow.
So
That is really cool.
yeah, it is really awesome.
And how does the payment with them work? Is it different? Are they paying you like per class? Is it is it any different than the other ones?
It's completely different.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess I can talk about pay. I won't like talk about my personal pay, but
Sure.
the ranges, I guess. VIP Kid will pay you per 25-minute class, and you get a base pay. And your base pay never changes. It depends on how you do in your interview. And it can be anywhere from, I think, $7.50 to $8.20. So anywhere like,
for 25 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
just $7.50, $7.50, $8.20, somewhere in that range, for 25 minutes.
So it ends up coming out to like around like 16 to 18 bucks an hour.
Right. Around there. Per hour, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of that, they give you incentives with VIP Kid, and they will give you like your first 20 classes, you get like 80 cents extra per class. So then that puts you at like, I'm horrible at math.
Well,
but
I think it comes out to, if it's a 25-minute class, and it's like, let's say it's $8.
Yeah.
Times 2 is 16, but that's 25 minutes times 2, so that's not
right,
even a
and
full.
then
That's
plus
not even
$1.
that's not even a full hour, right?
Right, you're
That's
working
50
minutes. Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. It's probably around like $18 plus the incentive. If they add the 80 cents on there, it's like $18.80. So we'll call it $19 an hour. It's pretty good.
Right. And once you get like established, like I have about 15 regular students that book consistently. Some people only open what they call short notice classes, and that's where you can get booked within 24 hours of the class, but not within an hour of the class starting. So, and you get $2 extra per class for that.
Okay, so
So essentially you could make even more money with that.
Ah, got it. So
yeah.
If somebody essentially books on short notice, they have to pay extra.
I don't know if the parent pays extra,
but they
pay
more.
us extra. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. That sounds fair too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So some people do those. But yeah, with the incentive pay, it goes up the more classes you teach in a month too. Like I usually teach anywhere between like 100 to 150 classes, which sounds like so many.
It sounds like so many.
It sounds like so many classes. But like when you do the math on how many hours I work, I work 3 hours every morning. So
that's awesome.
But anyway, Outschool pay is completely different. And I have a lot more freedom because I choose how much I want to get paid, basically.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my classes, because my background's in teaching, I do phonics classes. So I'm basically teaching the alphabet letters and the letter sounds. But I even have classes on I have a middle school social studies class because I have an endorsement to teach middle school social studies. So I said, why not teach it?
Sure.
But yeah, those are like my two most popular classes, I would say. And the pay is, there's a large variety of what you could be getting paid. It totally depends on, most of my classes I list for like $10. And you always have to keep in mind, Outschool takes 30% because they're a company. They want to make money off of you too, Sure. So they take 30% of whatever you get. So if your class is $10, you only get $7 in your pocket per student.
Per student.
Right. And you could have 18 students in your class if you wanted.
And so how does that work? Is that so do you go out and like put a $10 class out for one day? So it's like join my class for $10 today, or is that like
you can
the week for like, so you can structure it however you want?
Yeah, they have multiple different structures. I do ongoing classes, which is where they just continue. and continue and continue. But I only do them like once a week. I meet with those students.
Okay, so it's $10 a week for that one class.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But you could do a class where it's just one time. That's
one
it.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
So you sign up and then you pay each time, or do they pay ahead of time?
They pay basically every Sunday. Parents, if you're in an ongoing class, parents will get charged each Sunday.
The $10. Okay.
Yeah.
So Outschool seems really interesting because like
it is.
yeah, because VIP Kid is like, it's kind of like contractual. You're an independent contractor, which is cool because you can set your own schedule. You work with kids kind of at crazy hours, which is a little annoying, but they're kind of in control of like the payment side of it. And then Outschool is like, you're really kind of your own boss. Like you set your own prices for whatever you're producing.
Yes. And it's a little bit scary because I have had like some issues, but Outschool is like there to help. Like they do have people who work for them, and like if there's tech issues or different things like that, they will step in and help you if you need it. But yeah, you get a lot of freedom with them for sure.
Very cool. And how many classes do you have with them?
Oh my. I think I have about 6 classes posted.
Okay.
Like that are available for people to sign up for. But I have multiple sections of those classes. So like I said, I teach phonics, but I teach 9 different classes of phonics. And I have about 6 kids in each of those classes.
Okay. So
if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So so you have 9, do you have what, like 6 separate curriculums, and then you teach that same curriculum several times a week to different students?
Yeah. Okay, so it gets kind of confusing. Yeah, I know. Because I do know some teachers who just like I don't know how they structure their classes, but I'll talk about mine. I have one curriculum for my phonics class.
Okay.
So we learn each letter of the alphabet and the sound. And then I have like a whole curriculum that goes with each letter. And we learn one letter a day. And I have 9 different times available, 9 different sections. So each of those sections is kind of on a different letter. But basically, I have that one curriculum and I just continually teach the same thing.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
If that makes sense. Like 1 week will be letter A, the next week is letter B, but I might have another class that's on letter M and then N.
Okay, got it. I understand. Right. So you have it's the same curriculum overall, 6 different classes. Was it 6 classes?
9.
Sorry, 9 classes for that one curriculum, but certain classes are a little bit further along or behind the other ones.
And those, I mean, like I said, you can structure it however you want. You could have an hour-long class or a 15-minute class or a 40-minute class, whatever you want. But my classes are structured kind of like VIP Kid. I only have 25-minute classes. Okay. So.
And do you think that's like
shorter?
The sweet spot, 25 minutes?
Yeah. Well, especially I do younger students, so any longer than that is just a little bit much for them.
Okay, so just doing some quick math. If you have, it's 6 times. Okay, so you have 54 students overall in that one curriculum, right? If you have
9 times 6.
54.
Yeah, 54. Yeah.
And then. So you have 54 students in that class, and they're all paying you $10 a week. Is that right?
Yes, but Outschool takes 30%. Okay. Yeah, so I get $7 sent to me.
Okay, so just that one curriculum is $378 a week.
Yeah.
approximately. Times 7, 50, yeah. So
Just that class.
Just that class.
And I have other classes on there.
Wow.
And I have some, like I said, I have a cultural studies class for middle school.
Uh-huh.
And I have about 8 students in that class because they're older, or 9 students.
9 overall, right?
Yeah, I have about 9 students, and I only teach that one class.
One class.
That's the same price.
So it's 90. So 63.
And then I have trying to figure out my whole. Then this is. I don't know if it's taboo or not, but I've heard different criticism on these classes. But I have a social club.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They need that. Kids need that.
Yeah. I mean, but I've heard different things from different teachers. But I mean, it actually has structure to it. I am really into Disney, so
okay.
I have one class with a couple girls, and we do like Disney trivia, and we just socialize.
That's awesome.
30 minutes.
Yeah, so. It's like recess.
Yeah. I think it's good for them. They don't get, with the pandemic and stuff, so.
Definitely. And how many people are in that class?
I've had anywhere from 2 to 7 girls. It varies.
Okay.
So I'll say like 5 girls on average, I guess.
Okay.
And they pay the same price too. Like all my classes are the same price, basically.
Got it.
I would say I probably take home
times 0.7. I'm just doing quick math here.
450, I think. Maybe a little give or take some.
I think it's a little bit. So those were the 3, right? The 3 classes.
Yeah.
So the first one was 378. Second was, let me just add it up. 378 was the alphabet class, right? And then the second one was the social studies with middle school kids. That was 63. This is just approximate. That's 441. And then the last one was the social club, the Disney social club, which is a remarkable thing. It is $35.
It is.
And so it comes into like $475, which is
it's not bad per week.
That is not bad at all.
I know a couple teachers who also teach social clubs or just different classes, exercise classes, alphabet classes. I know a few teachers that make that work, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours a week, and they bring home like $4,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's
what's incredible.
It's incredible.
What's really incredible about this is in a lot of schools, like the value, like especially if you thought about it like a private school, because public schools obviously is tough because it's just tax revenue. But like private schools, they just like the administration kind of locks up all the value, and then they would pay a teacher X amount of money. This kind of reverses the role, in a way.
Right.
So 30% may seem like a lot, but at the same time, it's remarkable because you can own your own business. You can reach kids from all around the world. You could have 30 kids in a class or 50 kids in class. And
it's amazing.
That's really cool.
And with that too, I pick my own hours. So and that's something too, like with VIP Kid, they do have a cancellation policy. So like if you just didn't show up, if you slept in or you had an emergency, they do have like policies for that. And Outschool doesn't really have a whole lot. So like a couple weeks ago, I went on vacation and I just canceled my classes and let everyone know. And
that was it.
Yeah. So there's a lot more freedom with that, but.
And does Outschool have like reviews and stuff? So
parents can leave me reviews.
Okay. See, I think that's like the biggest thing is Outschool is just betting on the fact that like the community itself will regulate everything.
Good, this teacher's not.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like Uber,
Yeah.
So it was like $476 a week. on Outschool, and how many hours do you think you're working total, if you had to guess?
Well, how many classes was that? 9, 10, 11 classes I teach in a week, and each of those are 25 or 30 minutes. So
It's like 6 hours a week.
Yeah.
Wow. 6 hours a week.
So I don't know what that is hourly pay. I have no idea. But
if you look at it by the hour,
more than I ever. That's for sure.
It's like $80 an hour.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. Like, you're not filling up your schedule fully, but you get to free up your time to do everything else.
Right. And I'm like with having kids, it's just been a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then in terms of VIP Kid, is it how many? You said you're doing like 3 classes a morning?
Well, each class is 25 minutes, and I work about 3 hours in the morning because I'm not willing to wake up any earlier than that.
So are you doing 6 classes in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, that sounds like so many classes, but it's only
short.
3 hours. So yeah.
So that's, let's say it was like $18 an hour, like we came up with before, times 3.
Yeah, about, yeah.
It's an extra $54.
A day?
A day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an extra $54 a day.
Well,
yeah.
18 an hour times 3. Wow, really?
Yeah,
okay.
54.
Okay.
And
and I work 7 days a week in the morning.
Okay, so you're doing that 7 days a week. So that's
You want to do my taxes for me?
I am not the person to do that. I would mess those up really fast. And then Gogo Kid. I know you don't do much on there, but are you doing it weekly or are you not really anymore? You've dabbled though.
Yeah, they offer really big incentives, so I think that draws a lot of people towards them. But I have such like a good base with VIP Kid. Like I said, I know the hours sometimes aren't like ideal, and the pay is a little bit less, but like I really love my students, and awesome. I like that I don't have to plan anything, so it's just ready to go. And so
that's awesome. I was just gonna ask you, what's your favorite platform? I think I know.
I don't know. That is tough. I don't know why this is, but VIP Kid really like holds this really dear spot in my heart. And I don't know if it's like my students, they're just so sweet.
That's
or
awesome.
if it's just because that's what got me into online teaching. I really do love it. I know some teachers were VIP Kid teachers and then they leave and they only do Outschool. But I love VIP Kid, but the pay on Outschool, I don't know. Better. I could never choose between them. I don't think I'll ever let go of VIP Kid completely. So.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right, Amber, that was really, really interesting. And thank you for coming on. I learned a ton. Anybody who's listening, I'm sure they did too. So hopefully you inspired a bunch of people to go out there and start teaching online.
For real. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And you can teach whatever you know a lot about and love to do. So
that's the craziest piece of it. Is just anything. Yeah.
Anything.
Very cool. All right. Well, Amber, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I think that does it. So
all right. Well, thank you for having me come on.
Of course.
It's cool to talk about it.
All righty. And I don't know if there's like links to your classes or anything that we can include in this.
Everything's on my Instagram. I have like a link tree on my Instagram account.
Okay.
So
I'll go there and grab everything. I'm going to do a little story on you too.
Sure. No problem.
Very cool. All right, Amber.